Official history tells us we were primitive, that our ancestors barely understood the world around them, but deep down, we all feel it. Something about our past is wrong. So if that's true, who built this? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see the most recent discovery that has archaeologists baffled, a discovery that could change everything we think we know about human history. Travel with me to Peru, to the Andes Mountains. Here, more than 11,500 feet above sea level, we find Sacsayhuaman. At first glance, it looks like a fortress, but when you get closer, when you truly study these stones, something feels off. Look at these blocks. Each one weighs over 100 tons. Some weigh more than 200 tons. To put that into perspective, that's the weight of over 150 modern cars, and they're not simply stacked. No, they're cut with a precision that would make a modern engineer break into a cold sweat. There isn't even space for a sheet of paper between them. Run your hand along these joints. They're perfect, smooth, as if the stone had been softened, molded like clay, but it wasn't melted. It was cut, carved, moved, and fitted together with millimeter-level precision. Now here's the most disturbing part. According to conventional historians, the Incas built this in the 15th century, using stone tools, no wheels, no metal pulleys, no iron tools, just stones and ropes made of plant fibers. Let me ask you something. Do you believe that? Because I once tried to move a 100-kilogram stone in my backyard. 100 kilograms, not 100 tons. I needed help, a shovel, and nearly injured my back. Yet we're expected to believe that 500 years ago, without any modern technology, they transported 100-ton stones through steep mountains, cut them with impossible precision, and fitted them together so perfectly that not even a sheet of paper can pass between them. But wait, because this is only the beginning. Now travel with me to the other side of the world, to Egypt. To the desert, to the Giza Plateau. Here stands the Great Pyramid. You know it, everyone knows it. But what most people don't know are the real numbers behind this construction. The Great Pyramid of Giza contains 2.3 million stone blocks. Each one weighs between 2 and 80 tons. The entire structure weighs approximately 6 million tons. According to official theory, it was built in 20 years. 20 years. Let's do the math together. 2,300,000 blocks in 20 years means they had to place one block every 2 minutes, for 20 years straight, without stopping, day and night, and every single block had to be cut from a quarry, hauled across miles of land, sometimes from over 500 miles away, lifted into position and set with millimeter-level precision, all in 2 minutes. Do you see the problem? But the numbers get even stranger when you look at the mathematical precision of this structure. The base of the pyramid is leveled with an error of only 2 centimeters across 230 meters. That's a precision of 99.9%. Modern architects using laser technology, computerized equipment, and digital measuring instruments struggle to achieve that level of accuracy. And there's more. The Great Pyramid is aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west, with an error of only 3/60ths of a degree. That is more precise than the Greenwich Observatory in London, built with the full technology of the 19th century. And then there's this. The relationship between the pyramid's height and the perimeter of its base is exactly pi divided by 2. Pi, the number you learned in school, 3.1416. Officially, the ancient Egyptians were never supposed to know pi, and yet somehow they embedded it into their most important construction, and it doesn't stop there. The orientation of the 3 main pyramids of Giza aligns almost perfectly with the 3 stars of Orion's belt. Perfectly. According to the official version, all of this was achieved 4,500 years ago by workers using copper tools and stone chisels, dragging massive stone blocks with ropes and wooden logs. No complex pulleys, no cranes, no wheels. Does that sound reasonable to you? Because honestly, it doesn't to me. But before you think this is just an Egyptian mystery, let me take you somewhere else, somewhere that will make everything you've just heard seem almost logical by comparison. We're now in Turkey. in the arid mountains of southeastern Anatolia. And here, in 1994, a shepherd discovered something while walking his sheep, something that would completely change our understanding of human history. This is Göbekli Tepe, and what makes this site truly revolutionary isn't just its complexity, it's its age. Göbekli Tepe was built 11,600 years ago. Let me repeat that, so you really grasp what it means. 11,600 years ago. That's 6,000 years before the pyramids of Egypt, 7,000 years before Stonehenge, 8,000 years before writing existed, and thousands of years before any form of organized civilization was supposed to exist. According to everything we were taught, 11,600 years ago, humans were nomadic hunter-gatherers. They lived in small groups. They had no agriculture, no cities, no temples, barely any tools beyond stone spears and knives, and yet at Göbekli Tepe we find limestone pillars weighing up to 20 tons each. They're carved with intricate animals, lions, foxes, scorpions, vultures, along with complex abstract symbols and stylized human figures. These are not simple drawings scratched into stone. They are high-precision, three-dimensional sculptures carved into hard rock. And these pillars aren't scattered randomly. They're arranged in perfect circles, monumental structures that require sophisticated architectural planning, engineering knowledge, and complex social organization. To build something like this, you need hundreds, perhaps thousands of workers, a reliable food supply, coordination and leadership, and a clear purpose for construction. And all of this existed thousands of years before agriculture was supposedly invented, before humans had the ability to sustain large populations in one place. Archaeologists are scratching their heads. The official timeline says agriculture comes first, then permanent settlements, then complex social organization, and finally, monumental construction. Göbekli Tepe flips that entire order. Here, monumental construction comes first, and only 1,000 years later does agriculture appear in the same region. It's like building a skyscraper before inventing bricks. But there's something even stranger about Göbekli Tepe, something rarely mentioned in conventional documentaries. After being used for roughly 1,000 years, someone intentionally buried it. They didn't abandon it. They didn't let it decay into ruins. They buried it, carefully, filling every space with soil and stone as if they wanted to preserve it or hide it. Why? Why would you build something so monumental, so important, so incredibly difficult to construct, only to bury it 1,000 years later? No one has a clear answer, but wait, because now, this is where things start to get truly strange. Let me show you something you were probably never taught in school. In fact, I'm almost certain you've never even heard of this. On the Nazca Plateau in southern Peru, there are lines, thousands of lines. Some are perfectly straight, stretching for miles. Others form precise geometric shapes, circles, triangles, spirals, and some form gigantic animals, a hummingbird nearly 300 feet long, a monkey over 360 feet, a spider more than 150 feet across. But here's the incredible part. These figures are only visible from the air. From the ground, they look like random lines. You can't see the pattern. You can't see the full image. Only from hundreds of feet above can you see that they form specific, deliberate figures. They were created more than 1,500 years ago, at a time when, supposedly, no one could fly. No hot air balloons, no drones, no airplanes. So who were they made for? And how did their creators know what they would look like from above if they had never seen them from above? And we're not talking about simple drawings. Some of these lines are perfectly straight for miles. Others form perfect logarithmic spirals, the same spirals found in galaxies, seashells, and the fundamental proportions of the universe. Coincidence? Maybe, but the coincidences are starting to pile up fast. Now let's travel to Bolivia, to Puma Punku. Here we find stone blocks cut with a level of precision that seems impossible. I'm not exaggerating. Some of these blocks have perfectly cylindrical drill holes. Others have flawless right angles, surfaces so flat they look like mirrors, And when I say flat, I don't mean almost flat. I mean flat to fractions of a millimeter. The kind of precision you normally achieve only with modern computer-controlled CNC machines. But these blocks were cut over 1,000 years ago. Some archaeologists suggest they may be more than 2,000 years old. The material is diorite and granite, extremely hard rock. On the Mohs hardness scale, granite ranks a 7. For comparison, iron ranks a 4. Steel is roughly a 5. To cut granite you need tools harder than granite, diamond, corundum or modern tungsten carbide tooling. But according to official history, these ancient cultures had access to none of that. They were supposedly using stone hammers and bronze chisels. Try cutting granite with bronze. The bronze wears down, the granite doesn't. And then there's the problem of transport. Some of these blocks weigh more than 130 tons, and they had to be transported from quarries located over 10 kilometers away. No wheels, no large draft animals like horses or oxen. The llama, the largest pack animal in South America, can carry about 30 kilograms. Do the math. To move a 130-ton block, you would need more than 4,000 llamas. How do you organize 4,000 llamas to walk together in the same direction at the same time? It doesn't make sense. Now let me show you something that connects all of these impossible places, a pattern that appears again and again across the world in cultures that supposedly never had contact with one another. Pyramids. Everyone knows the pyramids of Egypt. But what most people don't realize is that pyramids appear on almost every continent. In Mexico, we have the pyramids of Teotihuacan. The Pyramid of the Sun is nearly as large as the Great Pyramid of Giza. It was built over 2,000 years ago by a civilization that mysteriously disappeared. In China, there are pyramids, dozens of them. Some are even larger than the Great Pyramid. Yet the Chinese government does not allow them to be excavated. They remain covered with trees, made to look like natural hills. In Indonesia, on the island of Java, stands Gunung Padang, a massive pyramidal structure that may be the oldest pyramid on Earth. Recent geological studies suggest it could be up to 20,000 years old. In Bosnia, there are structures that some researchers claim are ancient pyramids, covered by centuries of vegetation and soil. If they are pyramids, they would be the largest in Europe. In Peru, we find stepped pyramids. In Mesopotamia, in Cambodia, and in Japan, near Yonaguni, there are underwater structures that appear to be pyramids carved directly into solid rock. And here is the strangest pattern of all. All of these cultures, separated by oceans, with no known contact between them and no transoceanic navigation technology according to official history, all built the same fundamental structure, a pyramid. Why? Why would civilizations with different languages, different religions, and different natural resources all choose to build pyramids? The official answer is that pyramids are simply a natural and stable way to build large structures, an architectural coincidence. All right, I could accept that. Pyramids are stable, but then why do they also share so many other details? Many of these pyramids are aligned with specific constellations. Many contain internal chambers with unique acoustic properties. Many are built using the same kind of impossibly massive megalithic blocks, cut with impossible precision, and many of them have advanced astronomical knowledge embedded into their design, alignments with the solstices, with the equinoxes, with specific star systems. Let's talk about astronomy for a moment. In Egypt, the ceilings of certain temples contain incredibly detailed star maps, depictions of constellations, planets, the zodiac, and these are not simple maps. Some of them show the precession of the equinoxes. The precession of the equinoxes is an extremely slow astronomical phenomenon. As the Earth rotates, it wobbles slightly, like a spinning top. This wobble causes our view of the night sky to shift gradually, very gradually. One full cycle takes 26,000 years. To observe the precession of the equinoxes, you must observe the sky for centuries. You need precise records preserved across generations. You need advanced mathematics. You need an understanding of spherical geometry. According to the official timeline, the ancient Egyptians should not have known this, and yet, somehow, it appears in their temples. The Maya had a calendar more accurate than the Julian calendar used in Europe until the 16th century. They could predict solar eclipses with astonishing precision. They understood the cycle of Venus better than European astronomers of the Renaissance. In India, ancient texts describe the diameter of the Earth with remarkable accuracy, 1,000 years before Europeans even knew the Earth was round. In Sumer, texts written 4,000 years ago mention all the planets of the solar system, including Uranus, Neptune and Pluto, planets we only discovered with modern telescopes in the last 200 years. How? Now let me show you something most archaeologists prefer to ignore: ancient technology that should not exist. In the Baghdad Museum, before it was looted during the war, there were artifacts known as the Baghdad batteries, clay jars containing copper cylinders and iron rods. When scientists recreated them and filled them with vinegar or lemon juice, they produced electricity. They are dated to over 2,000 years ago. In India, there is an iron pillar in Delhi that is 1,600 years old and shows no signs of corrosion. Pure iron that does not rust. Modern metallurgists are still trying to understand how it was made. In Egypt, hieroglyphs depict objects that resemble light bulbs, representations of devices that emit light. Some researchers have recreated these designs, and they do indeed produce light through simple chemical reactions. In Greece, an artifact was discovered known as the Antikythera mechanism. It is a 2,000-year-old analog computer capable of predicting astronomical positions and eclipses decades into the future, with gear systems so advanced that nothing comparable appeared again until 18th-century Swiss clocks. And in Turkey, a map was discovered, the Piri-Reis map. It is dated to 1513, yet it shows the coastline of Antarctica without ice. Antarctica was not officially discovered until 1820, and it has been covered in ice for thousands of years. The map is astonishingly precise, so precise that it could only have been created using aerial observation. Yet in 1513, there were no airplanes, no satellites. Piri-Reis himself wrote that he based his map on much older maps that, according to him, dated back to the time of Alexander the Great or earlier, maps that depicted lands that should not have been known. So what's really going on here? What does all of this mean? There are several possibilities, and every single one of them is fascinating. Possibility number 1. Our ancestors were far more intelligent and capable than we give them credit for. They weren't primitive. They were brilliant engineers who developed techniques we have since forgotten. This is the most conservative explanation, and to a certain extent it makes sense. But it doesn't explain millimeter-level precision in hard stone. It doesn't explain how 200-ton blocks were moved across mountains. And it doesn't explain advanced astronomical knowledge. Possibility number 2. Advanced civilizations existed before recorded history. Civilizations that reached high levels of technological sophistication and then disappeared, leaving behind only these megalithic structures as proof they ever existed. This possibility is more controversial, but every year we find more evidence that supports it. Göbekli Tepe, Gunung Padang, submerged structures off the coasts of Japan, India and Cuba, entire cities lying beneath the ocean. We know that 12,000 years ago the last ice age came to an end. Sea levels rose by more than 100 meters. Entire coastal cities would have been flooded. Whole civilizations could have been erased. Possibility number 3. They received help. Knowledge transferred from an external source. This is the theory of ancient astronauts. Aliens, visitors from other worlds. Personally, I believe this is the least likely explanation. Not because it's impossible, but because it isn't necessary. Humans are extraordinarily ingenious. We are capable of astonishing achievements when we are motivated. But here's the one thing all these possibilities agree on. Official history is incomplete. There are missing pieces, entire chapters of human history that we have lost or forgotten. And now, just as I promised at the beginning, let me show you the most recent discovery, the one that has archaeologists completely baffled. In 2023, a team of archaeologists and geologists published a study on Gunung Padang in Indonesia. They used ground-penetrating radar, seismic tomography, and core drilling analysis to examine the structure. What they found is revolutionary. Gunung Padang is not a natural hill, as previously believed. It is a man-made pyramid, a massive pyramid, with multiple layers of construction. The uppermost layer is around 3,000 years old. That's ancient, but not revolutionary. But beneath that layer, there is another, and another, and another. The deepest layers, according to carbon dating and geological analysis, may be up to 27,000 years old. 27,000 years, if confirmed by further research. This would completely rewrite the history of human civilization, because it would mean that societies capable of monumental construction existed 20,000 years before Göbekli Tepe and 22,000 years before the pyramids of Egypt. During the Ice Age, at a time when, according to everything we were taught, humans lived in small nomadic groups, struggling to survive in a frozen world, and yet in Indonesia, in the middle of a tropical jungle, someone was building pyramids. Critics argue that the dating is controversial, that we need more evidence, and they're right. Science demands solid evidence. But the fact that we keep finding these structures, the fact that they keep challenging our expectations again and again, should tell us something. We should be asking more questions, not fewer. So let's return to the original question. The question I asked at the very beginning of this video. If our ancestors were truly as primitive as we're told, who built all of this? The honest answer is, we don't know for certain. But here's what we do know. These structures exist. They are not theories. They are not speculation. They are real stones you can touch. 100-ton blocks cut with millimeter precision. Pyramids aligned with the stars. Impossible maps. Advanced astronomical knowledge. All of this is real. And the official explanation that everything was built using stone hammers and ropes is simply not enough. It doesn't explain the precision. It doesn't explain the scale. It doesn't explain the knowledge. There is something more in our past, something we have forgotten, or something we were never told. Maybe advanced civilizations existed in the distant past and vanished without written records. Maybe our ancestors were far more capable than we believe. Maybe there are construction techniques we've lost. Or maybe the entire timeline we were taught in school is wrong. Maybe human civilization is far older, far more complex, and far more fascinating than we ever imagined. One thing is certain. Every year, we uncover more evidence that challenges the official narrative. Göbekli Tepe, Gunung Padang, submerged structures, impossible artifacts. History is being rewritten, not by conspiracy theorists, but by legitimate archaeologists willing to follow the evidence wherever it leads. And to me, that is incredibly exciting, because it means there are still mysteries to solve, still unanswered questions, still wonders waiting to be discovered. Our past is far more mysterious, far more fascinating, and far more astonishing than any textbook could ever capture. And who knows, maybe in the coming years we'll find the missing piece of the puzzle, the one that finally makes everything fit, that shows us who we truly were and what we were truly capable of. Until then, all we can do is keep an open mind, keep asking questions, keep challenging assumptions, and keep searching for the truth, no matter how uncomfortable or surprising it may be, because the truth is out there, hidden in these ancient stones, waiting to be rediscovered. If this video made you question what you thought you knew about our past, if it sparked your curiosity, if it made you see these ancient structures with new eyes, then subscribe to this channel, because every week we explore more of these mysteries, we investigate more evidence, and we ask more uncomfortable questions. And let me know in the comments, which of these structures do you find the most impossible to explain? Sacsayhuaman, with its 200-ton blocks, the pyramids of Egypt with their mathematical precision, Göbekli Tepe and its 11,600-year-old origins, or Gunung Padang, which may be 27,000 years old. Write it in the comments. I'd love to know what you think. And if you want to go even deeper, in the next video we'll explore evidence of advanced technology found in Egyptian tombs, tools that shouldn't exist, artifacts that defy explanation, objects that seem to belong to a completely different era. Don't miss it. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive, keep asking questions, and remember, history is far stranger than we were ever taught. See you in the next video.